Treasury Secretary and all-around badass Scott Bessent and Trade Representative Jamieson Greer en route to Asia to hold trade talks with their Chinese counterparts as the White House mulls a curb on exports to China. The plan would impact exports made with U.S. software, from laptops to jet engines, retaliating against Beijing's latest round of rare earth export restrictions, not just on us, but really the world. And the administration says all options are on the table.
This is China versus the globe. It's not just on the U.S. So we are contemplating, if we are not able to negotiate a pause or relief on this regime, how the U.S. and the allies would respond. All options are on the table. I am optimistic. We've had a successful de-escalation, but we're going to have two days of very fulsome talks.
Larry, I said all-around badass, and that is the highest compliment that I can pay the Treasury Secretary. I watched the interview that you did with him yesterday, and I just came away with thank.
He was pissed. He was very angry. On a Scott Bessent adjusted basis, he was very, very angry.
Angry at...
Because China screwed him.
Yes.
He made a deal in Madrid, right? That's the Cron. They were in other places, but the last deal was in Madrid. Oh. And then China comes out and issues this circular against the world. Mm-hmm. So it's export controls on rare earths and Lord knows what else against the whole rest of the world. And so, and now I'm not surprised, because I worked with them and negotiated with them in the first term, and they lie, cheat, and steal. You cannot take their word on any subject whatsoever. But here they go again. And you can't do that. Now, one thing I did like, Bessent fired this rogue negotiator. He singled him out. Said it's got to go.
Yeah, the China's rogue negotiator. Yeah.
And China actually did fire him. So I asked Scott if he was firing any other communists. He said he wasn't really in the personnel.
Seems to have a lot of pull over there.
He wasn't sure if he was in the personnel business or the trade negotiation business. But look, we should be, we have to be tough with China. We have to be. I wouldn't rush to make a deal with China. I know the markets, blah, blah, blah. We have to deal with our own self-interest. And we will produce rare earths. This rare earth block melt thing is only going to last so long. We will produce it. We made a nice deal with Australia, right? They got some inventory that can help us out. Other countries do. But no, that's what this is about. Now, can they make a deal? He's going to negotiate. Just last point. He told me yesterday, I didn't know what the Cron was. He and Jamieson Greer, smart chap, they're going to try to put paper something together with China before Xi and Trump get together. Okay. That's the chronology.
I was kind of going there on the chronology of it and wondering if there is a little incentive for Trump and his team to make a deal with China before the Supreme Court hears the tariff case overall. That if they can get something done, I think that's better for them than if, under the circumstances that the Supreme Court says, all of a sudden I'm going to throw the tariffs out. I
just don't, well, we've talked about that. I don't, that's a separate.
And the timeline is tight.
When's the Supreme's going to take it up?
They start oral arguments on the 5th.
And, so it'll be a little tight. Well, South Korea APEC will be over by then, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, look at, suppose the president makes a deal on paper with Xi Jinping, whatever that means, okay? And these things are not very authoritative. Who's to say they're going to keep it? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know he put 100% surcharge on the tariff. All right, well, essentially that stops everything, so maybe they can whittle that down. But you cannot trust the Chinese. The only solution here is for us to have an Operation Warp Speed for these rare earths and their magnets and whatever else goes in with them. And just in general matters, not give away the family jewels. I mean, the list of things here, software exports, chips, jet engines, what else did you in your introduction? I don't want to give them access, frankly, to anything. I mean, I've just become, in the last 6 or 8, 10 years, I've become a real hardliner. I want to give them anything. You can't own an American business anymore. You never could. China makes you put the blueprint right on the table. That's how they transfer the technology and steal it. So now, I mean, look, President Trump knows what he's doing here. He's had a lot of experience with this. I'm just saying, don't rush into it.
You know what strikes me is President Trump is supposed to be the president who was going to alienate all our allies, right? It was America alone, and he was going to make enemies with all of them. He has got Europe, Larry, walking almost in lockstep now on the policies that he's putting in place with Russia and oil and with China, and let's not take the dumping of their exports. He's been one of the strongest coalition builders I've ever seen in my lifetime on this. It started, I think, with the tariff policy that brought Europe to the table, but now it's turned into this partnership. Do I have that wrong?
No. I think having, by the way, this Rutte chap, who was the prime minister of Netherlands, was very positive. He's a Trump-like figure. He's a right-of-center European politician, which is unusual. But I would agree with you. Now, I don't know. I mean, are we going to talk about the Russia thing? Is now the moment? Or
Yeah,
let's
because
do it.
I don't know.
Just to set it up.
Set it up, please. I didn't want to rush.
Scott Bessent yesterday says
I'm telling
sanctions. So new
on a
sanctions.
seasonally adjusted Bessent basis. He was one PO guy.
Right.
Really?
Rosneft.
I mean, he's a very elegant, he doesn't.
Rosneft and Lukoil.
Yes.
Half of all oil exports coming out of Russia, these two companies represent. And 1/4 of the revenue that goes to the federal fisc in Russia.
Yeah, at least a quarter. Could be a third. But yes, you're right.
So new sanctions.
And Europe's behind it, too.
And oil is spiking today.
Are they?
Are they? All right, go ahead.
I know they've made a statement about not buying any Russian gas.
Yes.
I haven't seen the oil.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was talking about the gas.
I'd be happy to be corrected.
No.
But I was reading very carefully.
I was talking about the gas, and I just was thinking to myself, it wouldn't, but for President Trump's policies, but for exporting natural gas and reversing what Biden was doing, we've created a situation where they can say that they will not do business with them.
Which, by the way, if they're going to quit buying Russian gas, that's good. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's just not. It's not quite the big step on oil. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you've all looked into this. This is this OFAC. This is a blocking of some kind, but I don't know. I mean, I'm reading this as carefully as I can. This was the Treasury Department circular that they put out yesterday, and it really doesn't tell you. I mean, look, foreign financial institutions that conduct or facilitate significant transactions or provide any service involving Russia's military industrial base, blah, 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 which includes the oil companies, okay? Persons designated today, persons meaning the companies Rosneft, Lufthansa, may risk the imposition of secondary sanctions participating foreign financial banks, in other words, okay, OFAC can prohibit or impose strict conditions on opening or maintaining in the United States, et cetera, et cetera. So I asked Scott, I said, are we talking about secondary sanctions, which is a very big deal. That means China buys from Russia.
Right.
They do no business with the United States.
Right. What did he say?
He said no.
Okay.
Not there yet. No, but he did say the toughest sanctions ever, and I take him, quite seriously on that.
The sanctions could be tough, though. The enforcement, at least the Wall Street Journal this morning was making it about the enforcement. Is this just a show of strength for the United States to put it out there?
We don't know.
Or are they going to enforce it? I happen to believe this administration when they say they're going to do something, and I think they will enforce.
Well, I hope you're right. We've been here before. Remember, regarding Europe, for example, this is the 19th set of sanctions. I'm just saying.
It's
19.
Yeah, I know.
Different, though.
So unless you can materially bring down the price of oil, you're not going to do any damage to Russia, right? Like last year, the Europeans bought more energy from Russia than they put into the war in Ukraine. And so you're going to need to see the price of oil. We're looking at it $65 right now. You're going to need to see that in the 30s or 40s, which will hurt our suppliers here for an extended period of time. You're going to have to see nat gas collapse, which means we're going to have to lean on other allies to increase production. And so, I mean, we can make things unpleasant, but if they don't want to come to a deal and stop attacking, like we're kind of running out of options because we're 4 years into these sanctions, right? It's beginning.
I agree. Look, I don't know about 30 or 40, But oil in the 50s is a nice round number.
To hurt Russia.
We can do that.
To really hurt
Oil's
Russia.
Back
I'm not
over
worried
60
about
today, though, on this news. It's only up about a little bit less,
It's
I
just
think,
up
than
a couple
$4,
bucks.
which again speaks to what the administration is doing. If we weren't in a situation where we were better supplied globally, and the Americans are contributing to that, you'd have a much bigger spike on this news, I think.
Look, the Saudis are, I think, helping us. Okay, I really do.
Yeah.
How much, I don't know, and we'll never know. You saw, look, West Texas down in the mid-50s. Gasoline prices have come down now. Brent crude, it's not 100. That's the thing. If you look at their timeline for their adventurism under numerous presidents, including George W. Bush and Barack Obama and Georgia and all the places they've annexed in the last 10 or 15 years. So my read, this is just round numbers. When you get to 80, 90, 100 bucks, they get very bold.
Yep.
When you get to 50, 60, 70 bucks, they get less bold.
They quiet
Now, less bold doesn't mean not bold. And they're in this war that they don't want to say. But I don't know, reading all this stuff, how tough our sanctions are going to be.
Okay.
I don't know yet. I don't think I'm not sure the administration knows yet, right? I mean, these things have to be parsed through. Look, you want to take anybody that does we don't buy oil from Russia. I mean, we may indirectly, but we don't really. The issue is not us. China issued a good statement. China issued a good statement they were going to pull back. India said to Trump that Modi said he'll pull back. So the extra 25% was taken off, right? So that's not bad. Do you believe China? Of course not,
No.
but they did say what they said. The question is what the Europeans will do and what China and India do. We don't know that. You want to look, make my day. Take these Chinese banks, take these Indian banks,
Right.
take these European banks. You buy one little sliver of Russian oil, and we take you off the SWIFT payment system and out of the New
Yes.
York Fed depository system, and you're toast.
Unless there's
Do it. Make my day. No, they
Unless
won't.
there's
They won't do that.
unless there's pain, those barrels always find a way to the market, particularly if offered a discount by China. And I will note, Iran's oil exports are running at a 7-year high right now.
So you're quoting Dirty Harry.
I was going to say, was that
so
Dirty
we call
Harry
you
right
Dirty
there?
Larry?
Make
Dirty
my day.
Larry, make my day. Cut
Dirty.
off these banks.
Dirty Bessent, but the brokers, these phony ships, these dark ships, they turn off their transponders and they weasel their way through. So
they built an entire network of ghost ships after the Ukraine
it's a hard
invasion.
thing. But Trump's on the right track. Look, even if it's just high-level saber rattling, I kind of like it.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, if you like it, I like it.
Coming up, Fox Business is taking a look at the failures of socialism. David Asman is back with us to discuss how the ideology has infiltrated America's universities, despite creating economic misery around the world. He's here next.